Hello and welcome to IT Chronicles. My name is Casanova. We're here in Las Vegas at the Gartner Data Center conference, and we're here with Charlie Betz.
Carlos.
And Chuck Hollis from Oracle. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you. So you're talking about something kind of unique. At least terminology, something that we haven't heard about. So cloud machines. What exactly is cloud machines?
Okay, so a little setup here. So most IT leaders know they have to go to some sort of cloud-like model over the future. And they look at the public cloud, for some reason they can't use it. Might be data sovereignty, might be latency, might be internal politics, it doesn't matter. So the idea of a cloud machine is, if you can't come to our public cloud, we'll bring our public cloud to you. At a technical level, it's a subset of our public cloud delivered as a subscription service in our customer's data center behind their firewall. We provide the same services, the same pricing, the same operational model that we have in our public cloud. It just lives in a different zip code.
Huh, interesting. So I imagine there's appliances involved.
There's hardware involved. There's stuff with blinky lights. Sometimes it gets quite big.
Yeah, exactly. And then do you allow bursting then? Is this something that can give you bursting into
again,
additional capacity if they need it?
A lot of people have tried to lash on-prem stuff with off-prem stuff, and they're fundamentally different.
Yeah.
And once in a while you see a great demo on stage, and then you try to do it at home, and you wonder how they did it.
Yeah.
I think one of the advantages we have with this approach is that it's the exact same technology stack delivered by the exact same vendor on both sides of the wire. And it's not about going to cloud, it's just like moving a workload from a machine here to a machine there. It just happens to live somewhere differently.
So if I recall correctly, I think one of your blogs from earlier this year, you came out and said something about, I can't remember if it was, you had advocated really on the on-prem or the private cloud and kind of admitted to it's dead.
Yeah.
So I was reading through that and I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting.
Well, it's particularly embarrassing for me because I was such a huge advocate of private clouds for years. I thought they would cure cancer and eliminate global warming. And then I finally realized is that there's just no way you can keep up with what public clouds can do. Not in terms of the economics, but also in terms of the capabilities. So I guess I went through a religious evolution where I said, it's not public cloud, it's not private cloud. You really want to have both working together. And if they're fundamentally different technology stacks on both sides, that can be really hard.
Sure.
And I think that's one of the fun things about working for Oracle now is here's a technology stack, here's a set of capabilities. It's like a car. You want to buy it, you want to rent it, you want to lease it, you want somebody else to drive it for you. We're talking about the architecture and what it can do, and the consumption models are kind of separate. And that's the idea behind a cloud machine.
Well, that's what I said. When I saw that and they said cloud machine, I was like, is this the evolution of that? That is pretty wild.
One thing I found, and I don't know if you guys have seen this in your discussions with people, everybody kind of has the message. Enterprise IT has to start thinking more cloud-like. The problem is that it's not easy, right? And I would argue, and if you've read some of my stuff, it's like enterprise IT is different. This is not like fun, shiny stuff. These are gory applications that run a business. And people need a very smooth, logical path to get them where they're going.
Absolutely. So is it primarily then though a leasing and services model? It's not people aren't doing CapEx and then putting in the cloud machines, right?
No. Okay. We own the asset.
Right.
Parts of it can be metered. The software components can be metered.
Okay.
The hardware components are subscribed. The operational model is it's patched, maintained, and supported by the same people who run our public Oracle cloud. So there's a very clear model of roles and responsibilities. It's the same model as if you were using a public cloud. For the people who actually consume it, that's easy.
Right.
The infrastructure teams is like, well, you don't need me for patching? Nope.
They're all thrilled.
You don't need me for performance analysis? No, we don't. And that's kind of the dark and the light side of moving to a public cloud model.
Yeah, of course.
So from a vertical perspective, I mean, in my own mind, I can kind of already see, some of the folks we've spoken to, when you get into the privacy stuff, healthcare and security, and are you seeing those verticals kind of adopting it faster?
But the biggest adoption has been outside of Northern America and Western Europe. If I'm a bank running in Malaysia and I want to go to a cloud-like model, I don't have a lot of options for public cloud providers. So, I mean, you can just think of the parts of the world that would like to get to a kind of a cloud consumption model, but aren't going to be going to an Amazon data center or anything like that anytime soon. The other thing is we have some very enterprising partners. They're doesn't seem to be any cloud in my neighborhood.
Right.
I'm going to go buy one of these things and set myself up as the local service provider.
Oh, that's an interesting.
That's an interesting one when you think about it.
So they've just become an overnight
Now
cloud provider.
we're trying to figure out how to do this legally, but at least they're asking us, which is kind of nice. And it just goes to show that cloud is not really a place. It's kind of a way of doing IT.
Right.
And it's kind of nice to have this new third option to be talking about.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I know one of the things that I've always kind of joked with folks around with the cloud is, it's really the same stuff we've always done. It's just somewhere else.
What's that mean? Cloud is just somebody else's computer?
Exactly. I've used that one. I've used that one. And I kind of wonder, and I always kind of joked, like, maybe I'm just upset that I didn't come up with the term.
Damn it.
And, and I would be sitting on a beach somewhere with a cloud on the side of me,
Yeah.
But I guess, it's interesting what you said, it's almost kind of coming full circle.
Mm-hmm.
You're providing them that same capability that they always had, but without having to worry about it.
Yeah, cloud is about capabilities and consumption. It shouldn't be a geographical location. That's the big idea here.
Wow.
And so Oracle is pursuing this. It's you're not the only ones doing it right now, I think.
For now,
right?
pretty much.
Really?
Microsoft would like to offer something like this in the future for Azure. I don't want to speak for them, but we can comment when it's there. Everything else is kind of, like you said, is kind of a leasing model of something. Right. In those models, you don't get the whole operational support. You certainly don't have a compatible public cloud that you can go play with, which we think is kind of a big deal. And again, this is not just infrastructure. It's infrastructure plus the platform. Use it for development, database deployment. All of the components are the same cloud services we provide in our public cloud.
So you're really first to market with this particular model.
Hasn't happened often in my career, but geez, usually I'm running after somebody else, but it's nice to work for a vendor that actually got there first. And I often ask my question, how did Oracle get there? I think they got there because they had a public cloud that they could take and package, but also they have very strong relationships with enterprise IT in the on-prem types, and they saw the opportunity.
Right. They know, you guys know how to work the channel.
Yeah.
And that's actually a gap for some of the newer companies.
Yeah, for the big public cloud only, they do what they do. They don't really understand this wonderfully lush ecosystem that's been evolving for the last 40 years.
Right.
No one loved.
Yeah.
Now, do you see current clients that were in the public and saying, hey, you know what, we've always kind of been a little edgy around some of the publics and let's move it in? You know?
I must be missing something. When I sit down with an enterprise IT organization, not a lot has gone to a public cloud yet.
Right.
Office automation, collaboration, okay, I sent that to Office 365. I got some guy in marketing playing with Amazon, that's nice. I've got a VMware-based private cloud in the back room. But it's not like people have taken these critical applications and shoved them out to an Amazon cloud. And that has not happened. At least it hasn't happened twice. The next guy didn't make that mistake. So I think all of that's still up for grabs. And I think that's what Oracle's working very hard, is to be the preferred cloud vendor provider for those enterprise class workloads.
Well, with the stacks you have, I mean, the ERP apps and everything.
We got the apps, we got the middleware, we got the databases, we got ours, we have other people's, infrastructure to go with it. And I don't think we're ever going to be the leader in desktop virtualization. I think we're going to leave that for somebody else.
Sure.
My personal view is Amazon's got a good place with IoT and kind of those cloud native applications.
Yeah, that was an announcement that just this last week. Yeah, something they're doing there.
I think they're going to do well at that. But I come from the enterprise IT world. Someone still has to do financials, still have to do supply chain management. That stuff doesn't go away. Interesting question. Next time you sit with one of these large public cloud vendors, ask them where they run their back office stuff.
Yeah, that is dog food eating.
Yeah,
so,
I'm not going to go there. It's funny to ask that question.
Well, I think we'll leave it on that.
Yeah,
we'll leave that one kind of hanging out. Chuck, thank you so much for.
Hey, it's been a pleasure, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Hope to do it again
absolutely.
soon. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the
Looking forward
show.
to see what happens. 6 months out, a year out, and see if
Yeah.
there's more going on.
Thanks again.